informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Burby's 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Noon, sponsored by Amaland Milk. I am Kevin Smith. Before we get to the top stories we're tracking today, let's get to the front page comment brought to you by Kaieteur News. The PPPC's Grand Payara betrayal. Payara was a masquerade from the beginning. It was an elaborate dog and pony show. Now that the license is approved, all the government's yapping and howling can cease. The government has deceived the public by its submission to the will of ExxonMobil. What it promised the people, it did not deliver. The PPPC started out on the wrong foot with Payara. It picked the wrong persons to review the contract. The review of the Payara Field Development Plan has not been made public, yet the government has been hasty in inking the deal. It did not see it fit to even consult with the Guyanese people. The PPPC is already in overdrive trying to sell us false dreams about the trillions of dollars which we will earn as a result of this deal. They are, however, silent about the $9 billion price tag which has to be paid by the people for this plan, and about their abysmal failure to negotiate any substantial improvement in benefits. Payara was a lost opportunity. The PPPC squandered the chance of righting past wrongs and rebalancing the oil agreements in the country's favor. Instead of the treasury benefiting from a bonanza, all the people got were empty words. Payara is a bitter bill for Guyanese. Their hopes have once again been dashed at the hands of their political leaders. It is time for the Guyanese people to let their leaders know how they feel about this grand betrayal. And now for the top stories we are tracking. ExxonMobil awards over $1 billion in Payara development contracts. 29 companies submit proposals to market Guyana's oil, 14 tainted, 8 are newer applicants. An expert says in keeping corruption at bay, let all contracts for oil sector be subjected to competitive process. Local content panel to produce first report by November, and in the Kaieteur News libel suit, Adam Harris takes stand in defense of Demboysa. Stay tuned to stay informed.
Home from school forever, and you've done baking, drawing, schoolwork, and played Ring of Roses about 100 times. We've all been under some strain lately, but let us embrace our children. They're under strain too. Let's show them more love, patience, and care. Let's help to build their resilience in these trying times. Not just today or tomorrow, but for the future. Their future.
A message from the Child Care and Protection Agency, Ministry of Human Services and Social Security, and UNICEF.
And now for the news in detail. ExxonMobil has awarded in excess of $1 billion in Payara development contracts already, with the project being approved just 2 days ago by Minister of Natural Resources Vikram Bharat and EPA Executive Director Sharifa Razak. The contracts were awarded to Dutch firm SBM Offshore and French company Technip FMC. SBM announced early yesterday that ExxonMobil's local subsidiary, Esso, awarded it several contracts for the next phase of the project to construct, install, then lease and operate the oil vessel for a period of 2 years. After that period, the ownership of the vessel will be transferred to ExxonMobil. The arrangement is similar to the deals for the Eliza Destiny and the Unity vessels. In other news, with hopes of securing the contract to market Guyana's crude for the next 12 months, 29 companies and commodity traders have submitted their requests for proposals to the Department of Energy. According to the list, 8 of them are newer applicants, with 14 having a checkered past. Notably, this is not the first time that Guyanese are reading about this contract, as the former government under the coalition regime had opened bids for the same in April of this year. In the first bidding process, 34 companies had submitted proposals, 15 of which were linked to widespread global corruption and fraud. In other news, if Guyana wants to ensure that the portion of oil revenue set aside for procurement purposes is not at risk for corruption, then it would be wise to ensure the award of contracts is subjected to a competitive process that is underpinned by transparency. This was noted by expert on oil sector corruption, Alexandra Gillies. Gillies said that the local authorities would be wise to keep an eye out for the anonymous shell companies, as they have appeared in almost every corruption case that she has examined in the last decade. While oil sector procurement is an area that is vulnerable to corruption, Gillies was keen to note that the fight against fraud and crooked deals in this industry will require effective institutions across multiple branches of government. Let's tell you now that the Ministry of Natural Resources said that the Local Content Advisory Panel is expected to produce and submit its first report on recommendations by next month. The panel, chaired by Shyam Nokta, is expected to review all existing initiatives and policies where local content is concerned and guide the development of a new policy and legislation. Government said that the panel has been meeting regularly and intends to conduct consultations with key stakeholders, including from the private sector, government, and civil society. Government said that the minister emphasized the need for locals to get maximum benefit in the oil and gas sector via the participation of their goods and services. In other news, former editor-in-chief of Kaieteur News, Adam Harris, has taken the stand in defense of the contents of a Demboise article published in 2014. Harris is being cross-examined in relation to the article, which is the subject of a libel suit brought against the newspaper by former head of NISL, Winston Brassington. NISL is the company used by the government to make investments and manage state projects. According to the claims, Brassington is accusing the Kaieteur News of making several offensive and libelous statements in relation to his role in several state projects. Yesterday, Harris faced a series of questions from attorney for Brassington, Timothy Jonas, as the trial continued before Justice Fidela Corbin Lincoln. The matter is continuing. Get the full details of yesterday's court hearing in today's Kaieteur News. You are tuned into Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM, and this is your News at Noon, sponsored by Amalanda Milk. Coming up after the break, Dan Amstel man accused of letting a brother die in trench and slapped with manslaughter charge. Men escaped with gunshot wounds following ambush at Essequibo Hotel, and Guyana prepares for airports reopening. Passengers mandated to do second PCR tests once first test exceeds 72 hours. And Region 4 chalks up 2 more COVID-19 deaths. Meanwhile, curfew adjusted to 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. Do stay tuned.
Enjoy Free Nights Talk with Digicel, the curfew edition. Get unlimited free talk to any Digicel number between 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. All you have to do is top up $1,000 or more every day before 6 p.m. to enjoy unlimited free talk. That's a whole lot of gaff. No more boring nights. You can now call your mommy, daddy, your bestie, your boo, even granny to tell them all that Digicel unlimited free night talk is back. Terms and conditions apply. Digicel, there with you.
Welcome back. Let us continue with the news. A 64-year-old construction worker accused of killing his brother was placed on $400,000 bail after being slapped with a manslaughter charge. The defendant, O'Neill Jordan of Dan Amstel, West Coast Demerara, appeared virtually before Magistrate Zamina Ali C. Paul at the Lenora Magistrates Court. He was not required to plead to the indictable offense, which stated that last September 4th at Back Street in Amstel, he allegedly killed his brother, 55-year-old Winston Jordan. According to a police report, Jordan's body was fished out of a trench by two persons who were passing. This was after the defendant allegedly threw him overboard and refused to render assistance. The defendant is expected to make his next court appearance on January 27, 2021. And moving on, 2 men on Tuesday last escaped with gunshot wounds after they were ambushed by unknown gunmen at a hotel and bar located in Aurora Village, Essequibo Coast. Currently recovering from gunshots are 20-year-old Riaz Khan and 25-year-old Cordell Grimes. Khan was reportedly shot in the face while Grimes received a bullet to his left arm. According to police reports, the men were attacked 19 hours 30 in front of a hotel. Grimes, the driver, and Khan entered the vehicle immediately and sped off. Investigators said 2 more shots were fired behind the men as they were driving off. It was then, according to Grimes, that he realized his friend was bleeding from the face and he too was bleeding from his arm. Both men could not identify who their attackers were or why they had tried to kill them. And now for your COVID-19 update, the number of worldwide coronavirus cases, according to Worldometer, has reached 34,578,919, with total deaths at 1,029,177. Recovery cases has reached 25,732,013. Region 4 has chalked up 2 more deaths from COVID-19. The total deaths for the country have now moved to 85. According to the Ministry of Health, the latest fatalities are both males. One was 73 years old, while the other 69. Both hail from Region 4. Reports of the deaths followed the release of an updated COVID-19 dashboard, which showed Guyana recording 35 new COVID-19 cases. Guyana is now preparing for the reopening of its 2 international airports to commercial flights from October 12th. Following a decision by the Cabinet. On Wednesday, Minister of Public Works Juan Edgel disclosed the Cabinet's decision, adding that the airport will adopt strict COVID-19 measures. Guyana's airports have been closed since March. However, repatriation flights were scheduled periodically to allow stranded Guyanese to come home. Region 4 has of the cases. From Region 4, 31, of the cases in Guyana, 31 are from Region 4, 3 from Region 3, while Region 7 has 1 new case. In the meantime, there are 14 persons in the COVID-19 ICU, with the total number of known cases in the country now at 2,929. And coming from DPI, government has adjusted the curfew hours to 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. under the new COVID-19 emergency measures. While essential services are allowed to operate without any time constraints, several key services have had their operations hours extended between 4 a.m. and 8 p.m. daily. These include markets, supermarkets, beauty salons and barbershops, maintenance services and gas stations, and clothing stores. And coming from the CNN, a country already unnerved by a devastating health catastrophe, the U.S. and a turbulent political season faced fresh upheaval today as Americans awoke to news that President Donald Trump had contracted coronavirus. The president made the announcement of his positive test on Twitter at nearly 1 a.m. Eastern Time on Friday, and the development, after months of debilitating losses set against a badly mismanaged federal response overseen by a commander-in-chief who repeatedly downplayed the crisis, threw fresh turmoil onto the country's leadership at a moment of deep nation strain. His wife also tested positive. Well, that brings us to the end of today's News at Noon, kindly sponsored by Amalanda Milk. I am Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
And that's the news of the moment. Remember to get the full details of these stories, pick up a copy of the Kaieteur News. And don't forget, you can catch us on the MyTuner app as well as the Radio Garden app. You can also keep up to date by liking our Facebook page at Kaieteur Radio and subscribing to our YouTube channel, Kaieteur Radio Livestream. Oh, also catch our stream at